Hi, and welcome to Latina Nomad. Today I'm really excited to introduce you to Dr. Egli Colo, but before I introduce you to her, just wanted to recap our meeting from 2 days ago with Adele Borrero. He was absolutely amazing. He's the one that created the triathlon for Latinos, and it's really, really amazing, Tri-Latino Triathlon group. And they help motivate Adele Borrero. He was absolutely amazing. He's the one that created the triathlon for Latinos, and it's really, really amazing, Tri-Latino Triathlon group. And they help motivate Latinos to get into endurance sports. He's absolutely spectacular. One of the biggest tips he gave was to learn to forgive yourself, to be able to be nice to yourself and forgive yourself and just let yourself evolve into what it is that you want to do. But you'll catch that and a lot more in his interview on YouTube via our LatinaNomad.com page. On that note, welcome, Dr. Egli Colo.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to have you on board with us.
Thank you. It's great to have you here in my home.
So, Dr. Egli and I actually met on Facebook a few years ago.
Yes.
There was this article that came out on the major news media alley. I can't remember if it was CBS or
ABC News Latino.
Yes.
It was an article that I wrote.
Yes, it was ABC News Latino, in which they spoke about her and her daughter Natalia and how they overcame this incredible situation with Natalia,
Yes.
who had been diagnosed with cancer, and how you survived that, and
Yes.
how you both came out shining and doing amazing things. And Natalia, her daughter, is truly impressionable as well.
She really is.
You know, and it's really exciting to actually connect in person with you. So let's talk about you and how goal setting has been so important in your life, because you've accomplished so much.
Thank you.
You've been an exceptional mother,
Thank you.
overcome so much with your daughter, but at the same time, you've accomplished so much on your own. Between your education, you have a doctorate degree.
I do. Yes.
You're a college professor. You've developed your own theory through your consulting firm.
Yes.
So let's talk about goal setting and how that all came together, and you know how you set your dreams to be able to fulfill them.
Thank you. Thank you. Hard work. Goal setting is extremely important. I'm one of those people that doesn't do New Year's resolution, but instead look forward to living a pretty balanced life. I set goals every day. I create a to-do list, actually on my phone or sometimes in my book. There's something about writing our goals. Research shows that we are more prone to accomplishing them when we write them down. So I set a list. I write a list every day of things that I want to do, and I cross them out. I put happy faces next to them when I accomplish them. But it's important that our goals are very clear and attainable, and that we hold ourselves accountable, and a lot of times bring someone on board to hold us accountable. So a goal or dream without a plan doesn't work. You gotta have a plan, step by step, clear steps on how you're going to accomplish them.
And let's talk about that. What was your goal setting process for you to accomplish your schooling, right? Because did you go to school right after, as soon as the regular course, or was it after you had Natalia? Like, how did that look?
So I finished my undergrad right before Natalia came to this world in 1995. I graduated from St. Francis College, and then it took me about 7 years to go back to grad school. At first I tried to go back when she was about 3 years old, but I was newly divorced, and it was really hard to juggle everything. And I know that I'm not a quitter. I knew that I was gonna come back, and I had to put it on hold and focus on her first, making sure that she had structure and setting her up for success. She was beginning preschool, and she was the priority at the time. And when I came back, it was really amazing. Halfway through my master's degree, I applied for a doctorate program, and I've been able to do amazing things. As part of that program, I went to Oxford to complete a fellowship in interreligious dialogue and interreligious dialogue, and it has been amazing. So very clear and a lot of times it's hard to see the end, but I've always been very clear about, okay, what I want to accomplish today. So having short-term goals and having long-term goals as well, and steps on how you want to accomplish them. And determination and discipline are key.
And how did you find that? So being a mom, because you spoke about that, you actually encountered a lot of struggles doing school. And so how did you keep that discipline and that motivation, being a mother and going through all these situations to be able to see that through?
Well, I'm a firm believer that we teach by example, and I know the dreams that I have for my daughter, and I had to show her, not just tell her, get a good education, do well in school, go to college, but show her. And it was also out of need. I knew, and this is something I always tell my students, that education is a guaranteed return on your investment. Education is a guaranteed return on our investment. So I was investing. I was only not just investing on myself, but I was investing on my daughter through my actions. And just taking that first step, a lot of times we don't have a clear view of what the future looks like, but one step leads to the next.
You just knew the education was going to be key to whatever that future was.
That future, a higher paying job, and also knowledge, love for learning. I'm one of those lifelong learner. My parents call me a professional student, and a professional student of life. Yeah. So it was, also wanting interaction with adults, but it was hard work. I'm not gonna lie, but keeping my eyes fixed on the final prize. I think it's important that when we set goals, that we start with the end in mind and work from there. So what is it that I want to achieve? And then what are the necessary steps? And I knew that it had to be, in my case, delayed gratification.
Okay, that's important, delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification. There were times when my daughter wanted to go to the playground and I had to say, no, honey, mommy needs to study right now. And at that time, I realized that it wasn't the quantity of time, but the quality of time. She was never neglected. I always played, but perhaps I had to adjust to the situation. And she is my priority. She has always been my priority, but I had to incorporate my responsibilities as well. And, and bringing her along to the library and sometimes to the classroom with me.
So your motivation was your daughter being able to lead through example for her, to set that role, be that role model for her. And then the other one was to just try to create a better life for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, out of need. Yeah. Because I knew that higher education was going to help me get a better job and to be able to give my daughter the things that I wanted to give to her.
Yeah, and it definitely does open doors. I remember working corporate and I had not finished college and I was going to work full time and working like crazy and going to college part time. And I was underpaid. I had like 3 people's jobs and they let me do high level work because I was really good at it. But I wasn't getting paid. And then finally one day, like I spoke with my counselor and they're like, if you go to school full time, it'll take you 3 years to do it.
Absolutely.
But if you continue part time, you're going to be going to school for 8 years.
Absolutely.
And struggling. And I was like, what? Making this kind of money? She's like, and your salary's going to increase. So I was like, I quit. I threw in the towel. I was like, I am done. 8 years of this.
Right.
And then you're right. I went to school full time and I actually got to study abroad.
That's fantastic.
And then when I came back, my salary doubled.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important that we recognize that sacrifice is not forever. We sacrifice for a certain period of time, I don't want to say a short period of time, but we sacrifice for a period of time, but we're setting a foundation so that we can live a more comfortable life, so that we can have more opportunities, so that we can broaden our horizons. And
so as a mother doing this, what was your biggest challenge?
Oh my goodness, the exhaustion. The exhaustion and juggling, but it takes a lot of organization. When people ask me, how did you become so organized? You know, my mom tells me that as long as she can remember, I was one of those kids that took out the clothes the night before, or organized my backpack. I am a pretty organized person, not OCD, but a little OCD doesn't hurt anybody, because my daughter is also extremely neat and organized. Order brings brings a sense of peace into my life. I don't function well in clutter, but I do function well in organized chaos, though. And I think that's what life was while I was managing a full-time job, being an exceptional mom, and going to graduate school full-time. It was organized chaos. It took a lot of planning the meals, planning my time well, also finances, you know, living within my budget, and my daughter being the amazing individual that she is. She's a pretty cooperative child, but I also have the support of my family and friends. So it's important to know that we don't grow in isolation. We grow in community, and not being afraid to ask for help. My parents were amazing when it came to taking care of my daughter, and also my daughter spent time with her dad. So I went to school on weekends, and knowing that my daughter was well taken care of, so that brought a sense of peace for me, and it made learning a lot easier.
So getting the right support was
getting
key
the
to
right
reaching your
support,
goals.
being able to ask for help, and organizing time management, and organizing my life. We had an SUV at the time, and I remember that it looked like a grocery store. I had snacks in the trunk. I even had PJs, because there were nights when I was taking evening classes and would bring my daughter from school with me to class, and I'll put on her PJs until on our way back home, and give her a snack, and dinner will be ready. Meal preps worked well. I just had to heat it up and feed her, read her a bedtime story, but also keeping in mind that sacrifice was not forever, that I was teaching her through example, but also building a better future for her and for myself.
That's awesome. So you were able to get your degrees, and then from there you went, and you're a professor now.
I am.
But you also just finished writing a book.
I did. I just finished writing a book.
So she's done all that and writing a book.
Yes.
So let's talk about, first of all, what were your goals this year?
My goal for this year was to finish the book.
Okay.
And I did. I finished the book about a month ago, and it's in the hands of my agent right now. Yay! So that is pretty exciting. So 2017 looks very promising.
Awesome. Do you want to tell people about your book? What it's about?
Absolutely.
And how it came about?
How it came about. First of all, I did not set out to be a writer. When I went to school, I did not read about books written by Latinas. So it wasn't until my early 30s in grad school that I discovered Latina writers and have been fascinated with it. So my book was actually birthed 33,000 miles up in the air when I was on my way to Oxford as part of my doctorate program. And it just dawned on me, I got this strong conviction in my heart that dreams don't have an expiration date. Because it was always my dream to go study abroad, but the opportunity never presented itself. And here I was, as an adult, with a 7-year-old daughter at the time, on my way to Oxford. It's huge. So, and in a doctorate program, because my goal was just to get my bachelor's degree, and then once I finished my bachelor's degree, to get a master's degree. But then to continue, it was a pretty surprise. One that I'm very proud of, and one that I'm glad about. So at the time I needed to finish my dissertation. So the book was going to be about not letting go on our dreams. And then the book took a different shift. A couple of years later, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer. So the book became about that we chronicle our experience up to the end. It's pretty raw, but it's also, I share how my faith, our faith, brought us through. It's about a community, how my family, my friends, how I leaned on them, how we leaned on them to keep moving forward. So I can't wait to have it, to hold it in my hands. It's like another baby. And to write more books, because through the process what I realized was that I still have a lot of more stories to tell, and that there is a need for Latinas, for people. We have a lot of stories to tell. We need to write these stories to share with the world.
And so let's talk about that with Natalia, right? Because you're going through all this stuff and trying to accomplish all your dreams. And for a lot of people, getting a news like that with your daughter. So first of all, what was the diagnosis with your daughter?
So my daughter was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, which is a form of bone cancer. It was on her knee, distal femur, and it was unexpected.
And how old was she?
She was 3 months away from turning 13, so she was 12 years old, very young. And it's every parent's worst nightmare. It's one of those situations. I mean, as parents, we take the bullet any day for our kids. So to me, it seemed like a death sentence at the time. But little by little, we were able to accept it and move forward. There wasn't much time to dwell. We had to fight. We had to fight hard. We had to get the best quality of care to save her life, and here she is now.
Yeah, and you definitely didn't let that stop you from
absolutely not
keeping moving forward and doing everything else. So what were you accomplishing during that time simultaneously?
Well, at the time I was healing. I had just had a major surgery. I had my own health issues as well, and I was a teacher and a department head, and I was on a leave recovering, but I had to drop everything, get back up on my feet and fight for my daughter's life. At the time I already had finished my education, and we were in the process of closing for this condo when that happened. So I literally, and this was 2008 when the market collapsed. So my world also collapsed, and it was one of those, it was my lowest point in life. And again, I tell you, my faith in God saved me. And just taking one day at a time, staying present, and just becoming aware that that was not the end. I was willing, I kept telling myself, this is not how the story ends. And if it does, I'm gonna go fighting.
And I think that's huge, where we have to take time to reflect
absolutely,
and be true to ourselves and say, okay, there's more to this.
Absolutely.
Than what that is. And
absolutely.
Finding something to hold on to.
Absolutely.
And you had your daughter, and you have faith, which is really important. Choosing to believe in something to keep
absolutely
moving forward with it. That's amazing. So afterwards, that transition helped you go into creating Icon Sad after.
Absolutely, yes.
Let's talk about that.
It was a few years later. I mean, we were in the hospital for about 2 years. And then she completed 7th and 8th grade at the hospital. When she came out, she was ready to start high school, which she did. and I went back to work, my other job, and then 2013 I left that job to begin consulting and creating a platform, a place that resonated with who I am, and I stand for education. I just seen the need in our community, although through this presidency, the high school graduation rate has gone up. There's still such a need in our community for more Latinos, for more African Americans to complete their college education. So what I created was this a program, Finishing Unfinished Business, where I worked with women, mostly Latinas, to go back to college and commit to degree completion. And out of that program, I multitask, of course, so I do my consulting work, but I also teach part-time at the Bronx Community College. I teach sociology. So I implemented a lot of the concepts that I use in Alcanzar and in my Finishing Unfinished Business program into my classroom. In the curriculum, correct. So where students set goals, academic goals for themselves, with very clear steps on how they're going to accomplish them. I hold them accountable. We create almost like a buddy system in the classroom for accountability, so that no one is left behind. So that is for that everyone to accomplish their goals. I also meet with the students, and then at the end, they sign what I was sharing with you, which is the college graduation pledge form, with very clear steps on how they are going to accomplish their goals for the following semester. So again, having things in writing with clear steps on on how they're going to accomplish them. So this is for the 3 classes that I teach there. I also visit schools. I visited a school in Brooklyn Jesuit Prep School, and I met with 80 students, and they also took the college completion pledge. So this is just another way of bringing my dream, my hashtag, 1,000 by 2020. My goal is to encourage at least 1,000 people. It used to be women, but now it's both, to graduate college by the year 2020. Perhaps those students at Brooklyn Jesuit Prep will not graduate by 2020 because they're a lot younger, but I'm planting the seed, and they
just
remember.
To do so.
Absolutely.
So when you did Alcanzar, talk to me about what was the biggest challenges, because you mentioned some of them to me earlier. What was the biggest challenge for you setting this, and that you didn't really expect?
The audience. I'm working with what's in front of me and just staying true to my intention at the beginning of it. But I have to say that finding the audience and knowing that I'm a one-person show, although I have great support from family and friends, it's been really hard to make the organization work, But what I keep in mind is that I am the face and the person behind Alcanzar. And as long as every day I'm doing something to help someone to get closer to accomplish their educational dreams or to fulfill their dreams, I'm working on it.
And by the audience, you mean it's like getting people to come take advantage of the
Take advantage, yes, to take advantage. Even when programs are offered for free, there's still the commitment, the personal commitment from each individual to work for their dreams and to accomplish their goals. So it's a mutual commitment. Here are the tools, but now you have to go and apply them.
And will you?
And you got to do the legwork. You have to show up. You have to invest. And that's one of the things in all just in general, when we do the goal setting, we also need to be willing to sacrifice, to make the commitment, to do the legwork, to make the investment, and to finish. To see it all through. And it takes walking on fire sometimes. I can inspire you, I can show you the way, I can give you the tools, but at the end of the day, it's on you, honey.
Yeah. It's so true. And I think that's the hardest part with everyone, to be able to do that. So talk to me right now. Do you have goals for 2017, and if so, what are
they? Thank you.
Whichever ones you could share.
Thank you. And if I didn't have them, I better come up with them now.
No, it's good. And that's the honest part about, well, you
right.
Actually, one thing you said is that you don't do
New Year's resolution, right? And I don't like to add additional stress as we are ending a year. As a matter of fact, my husband and I, we go away that last week of the year to just relax. You cannot do in the next couple of days what you haven't done in the past 12 months.
Exactly.
So for me, like I said, it's about living a balanced life where I set goals every day. But yes, for 2017, I do have big dreams, which is to see my book published and to do whatever I can on my end to make sure that it gets to the hands of those that need it the most. I'm pretty confident that those that need to hear that message will get it. I've done everything on my part to make that happen, but if there's more to be done, I'm considering going back to school.
Oh, really?
I just applied to a program, another master's. My daughter says that I have more degrees than a thermometer, but it's like, I'm a firm believer that we need to hone our craft. We need to get better at it. So now that I have discovered this love for writing, I did find an MFA program. I applied, actually. It's a master's in creative writing. Because I want to become the best at what I do and be able to teach it to others as well. So we'll see. It may change, but I did apply and just be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. I try not to put too much pressure on myself. Perhaps when I was younger, but at this stage of the game, I like to keep it very low-key, very uneventful, but stay open to the possibilities.
And I think that's huge, because I think that one of the biggest problems is that we always are our own worst critics.
Oh, I am a professional at that.
We're our own worst critics, and it's the worst thing.
Oh my God, the voices in our heads, the constant chatter. So yeah, absolutely, we really are.
If you could give one piece of advice to the audience, what would it be?
Don't bring your dreams to the grave. Take steps each day to make your dreams a reality. Identify them and create a step-by-step plan. And then offer it to God. In Spanish we say, uno planea y Dios dispone. Sometimes God laughs at our plans. So no. And things
will evolve.
Yeah. But take chances. It's okay to be afraid of the unknown. But take chances. Wake up every day thankful that you are alive and make each day count.
That's huge. And what about for moms because you've worked with moms and
yes.
you see that their commitment's really hard because of everything they have going on. So what piece of advice do you have for mothers that have dreams and feel like it's so impossible to accomplish them because they're a mother and they work full time or whatever it is they have going on?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you the best piece of advice that I received as a mom, and for me it was shocking. And my friend said, put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yes.
Take care of yourself first. You will be a better mother to Natalia if you take care of yourself first. Take care of yourself. Listen to your own dreams. And, you know, in the process of taking care of them, don't neglect those dreams. Our dreams have a way of keeping us alive. My dreams wake me up at night, and they make me want to write and work. Connect with yourself, and listen, but take actions. Take actions, and don't bring your dreams to the grave. Yeah. You know?
That's huge.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, make a plan.
Make a plan.
Write it all out.
Yes.
You know, allow yourself to pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bring them to the grave. The great one
accountability. Tell someone about your dreams. Yes. So that they can hold you accountable. Because we don't grow in isolation. We grow in community. And once we profess, this is what I'm going to do to someone, you don't want to look like a fool, you know? Exactly. And that person, giving that person permission to say, hey, you remember that thing you said you were going to do? What's going on?
What's happening?
Yeah, you said you were going to get healthier. I don't see you working out. I need to go back to the gym. Speaking of.
Very important, the expiration date. Your dreams don't have an expiration date. Regardless of how much time has passed by, don't give up on it.
How old you are, that doesn't matter. You're still breathing. As long as you're alive, as long as you're still breathing, you have dreams to come to fruition.
Baby steps towards your goal. Baby steps. Allowing yourself the time to do so.
Absolutely.
And I think one key thing here is allow yourself to disconnect too, like from that. If you have those goals and you're driven, like you did, when time came to the situation with Natalia, you just said, okay, there's a timeout.
Yeah.
I'm refocusing, and it's going to be on Natalia, and then...
And I made that part of the dream, you know, so the book took a different trajectory. Right. You know, it started off, showing moms that dreams don't have an expiration date and how I'm juggling it all. Well, we're not exempt from crisis.
And that goes back to what we were speaking with another interview where they said it's adaptability. Being able to like morph with our plans.
Absolutely.
Not being so rigid with it that it has to happen X, Y, and Z. There's going to be twists and turns that it's just going to make us evolve into different ways.
Absolutely. Life is not linear, okay? We take shifts and turns, and being able to accept that instead of resisting it. I think a lot of the anguish and the stress that we experience it comes from resistance. So developing a sense of surrender. Surrendering is not giving up, and I talk about that in the book. You know, surrendering is not giving up. You know, it's letting go sometimes of our perceived notions and just accepting and adjusting to what's in front of you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So definitely do not give up on yourself. I think that's a huge, and the biggest takeaway is definitely don't expire things. There's no such thing, and there's no expiration on life, or you know, whatever it is. Someone can just put an expiration date on you, and I think that's what's been huge with Natalia, to see her and see how beautiful she is.
Absolutely.
How she's flourished, and she's doing great
pursuing. She's taking her last final on Monday, and then she's flying home in a red eye. So I'm looking forward to having my girl home, but she's also fulfilling her modeling dreams, and she's doing fabulous.
Yeah,
so, awesome. But more importantly, she's healthy and happy and strong. And for that, I am extremely thankful and grateful to God.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And it took a lot of work, and you know, so from that though, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for coming into my home.
We're definitely gonna have to like bring you back and do more and talk.
Absolutely.
But, don't forget, we will recap all this. Remember, it's all about creating your lifestyle plan. Envision what you want in the end. How do you want your lifestyle to look like? What do you have available to make that happen? What are you willing to develop to make it happen? And how much it's going to cost you to get there so that you can plan it out the right way. So on that note, again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're amazing. And we will see you on the next one. Stay tuned on our social media platforms to see when the next one is. Thanks so much. Ciao.